Hey, welcome. Today we're diving into a really critical framework for any product leader out there. We're going to move beyond just having good intentions and start talking about truly responsible innovation.
Just let that sink in for a second. What if that one feature, the one that blew up all your metrics and got you that big promotion, actually ended up causing real, measurable harm? It's a heavy question, right? And it's at the absolute heart of what we're talking about today.
So how does something like that even happen? Well, let's walk through a scenario that's probably going to feel uncomfortably familiar. It really exposes this massive blind spot that even the smartest, most well-meaning product teams have.
Okay, so picture this. You've got this brilliant team at a social media company. They come up with a great idea to get friends to connect every single day. They call it streaks. Super simple. It's just a little counter that shows how many consecutive days you've messaged each other. The whole intention behind it is positive, right? It's all about building connection.
And you know what? It works. Oh boy, does it work. The metrics just go through the roof. Daily active users, engagement, time in app, everything is up and to the right. The team gets their bonuses, they're celebrated all over the company. By every standard we use to measure success, this thing is a home run.
But then, a few months down the line, a big story breaks. A major newspaper runs a piece detailing how teens are feeling this intense anxiety and social pressure to keep their streaks alive. It's turning friendships into a chore, a source of stress, and it's causing some real mental health issues.
And the team's response? It's what you'd expect. We didn't mean for that to happen. And you know what? They're telling the truth. They didn't. They had the best of intentions. But this is the absolute key takeaway. Good intentions are not a shield. They're just not enough. So if having good intentions isn't enough to protect you, what is? Well, this brings us to the framework, and it introduces a fifth and often forgotten dimension of risk that we need to be thinking about.
Look, as product leaders, we know these 4 risks like the back of our hand, right? Desirability, do they want it? Viability, should we build it? Feasibility, can we build it? And usability, can they use it? This is our standard playbook for de-risking any project. It's Product Management 101. Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. We're adding a 5th row to that table, ethical risk. And the question it forces you to ask is simple but powerful. What harm could this cause? The blind spot it shines a light on is the one that gets almost every team. It's that unspoken assumption that our good intentions will automatically prevent bad outcomes.
Let's just define this so we're all on the same page. The ethical assumption is that quiet little voice in the back of our heads. The unstated belief that because we're good people trying to do a good thing, our product won't cause any unintended harm. This framework is all about dragging that assumption out into the open and really challenging it. So how do you actually find these hidden assumptions? Well, you start by asking better questions. Here's a quick starter kit for your team. First up, the troll question. How could a really malicious person abuse this feature? Then there's the addiction question. Could this create a compulsive, unhealthy loop for our users? The inequality question. Does this disproportionately harm or exclude a vulnerable group? And maybe my favorite, the transparency question. Would we be proud to see the inner workings of this on the front page of the New York Times?
Look, a framework is totally useless if it just sits on a slide. So let's get practical. Let's talk about implementation. How you as a leader can start putting this into practice with your team like tomorrow. Here are 3 really high-impact plays you can run. First, appoint a dissenter-in-chief. Make it someone's official job in every single review to argue against the idea and point out all the potential negative consequences. Second, run up pre-mortem of harm. Before you ship a big project, get the team together and say, okay, fast forward a year. This thing has become a total ethical disaster and a PR nightmare. What's the headline? And third, and this is a big one, make this a standard part of your process. If a team comes to a review and they haven't seriously thought through the potential for harm, they haven't finished their work. Send them back to the drawing board.
And I need to be really clear on this point. This is not something you can just delegate to your legal team or a compliance department. As the product leader, the buck stops with you. You are the chief ethics officer for your product.
All right, so what's the one single thing you can do the minute you're done with this? The thing you can take to your team on Monday morning. Let's make it super simple and concrete.
Here it is. The very next time you're in a room with your team mapping out assumptions for a new feature, I want you to walk up to that whiteboard, grab a marker, and add a 5th column. Label it ethical.
And the only rule is this: we are not leaving this room until we have at least 3 potential negative consequences listed in that column. It's such a small action, but I promise you, it will fundamentally change the conversation.
And that kind of brings us to the last thing I want to leave you with. You know, for the past 10 years, our entire industry has been obsessed, absolutely obsessed, with growth at all costs. But that era is ending. So the real question for you as a leader is this: what is your legacy going to be for the next decade? Is it going to be just about growth, or will it be about building things that are responsible, thoughtful, and truly ethical innovation?